Welcome back to the Do Hard Things Today podcast, where fitness and life intersect. Hal Morris over on the board, Kevin Harrison here. We're continuing in our series of fitness journeys and inspirational people that are in our community that hopefully will inspire you by their story and maybe give you some tips and tricks on what has made them successful and possibly getting their health back and then doing the hard things daily. And we're lucky to have Mr. Tony McAbee with us. Some of you may remember him when you hear his voice from a microphone years ago. He spent some time on the sideline for the Burns Rebels and actually co-hosted a sports radio show on Saturday mornings for 6 or 7 years, I believe you said it was. But most of you now, if you're listening to this podcast, you will know him through his leadership in the community with cycling, F3 fitness, just different things that he's involved in. Man, he has really done some pretty exciting things. And Hal Morris, our co-host over there, I know he's been a big part of your journey.
He has been. That's right.
Hal Morris, who has taken the journey from a absolute beginner cyclist to being a strong cyclist now. And I know one of the people that has really helped him with that is Tony.
Yes, he has.
Just want to remind you of a couple of things before we jump into the interview. Just go over to iTunes or Spotify. If you could subscribe to the podcast, give us a review, maybe give us 5 stars if you think we're doing anything good, and that helps us to move on up into the rankings so people can find us if they're looking for a fitness podcast. So with all of that behind us, Hal?
Yeah. One thing. I sit here and between two guys that are I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit with high school football. So
nice.
Burns Rebels and Dorman Cavaliers.
Yep.
I've got probably the two biggest fans here in the upstate. Kevin with Dorman and Tony with and Burns, and I've been kind of in the middle. Graduated Dorman, but now I'm over in District 5 and been all in with Burns Rebel sports here the past few years with the kids. So what's a little preview of each team, real short? What you think, Tony?
Oh, I think the Rebels are going to look pretty good this year. I talked with Coach Shaw just recently, and of course we had the 7-on-7 this year. I think it's the 12th year of the big 7-on-7 at Burns, and they actually lost the championship game to a former player and Coach Lane. But I think this team has an opportunity to be a little extra special this year. I think you're going to be surprised with a good defense that they've got this year, and I think they're still tweaking things offense. And Rajay Harris is the running back. It's hard to believe he's going to be a senior this year.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like he's been playing for 15 years.
Because, in middle school, everybody was using the term next Marcus Lattimore, and I remember one person say Marcus who, because of Rajay's ability. But,
Tony, didn't he have his breakout game? Wasn't it the Dorman?
With Dorman 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago, the last game of the season. I remember.
I think what's been tough, and whether you're Burns, whether you're Dorman's always had great running backs, and not always big guys, smaller guys, and did well. But I think the difference is Dorman's also always had some meaty offensive line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask Kevin. How's that?
And it's been a while since Burns has had some beef. Back in the day, in that big run that they had for so many years, and of course Coach Trey Bailey, who's a line coach now, he was one of those big offensive linemen that went on and played at Wake Forest, played in the Orange Bowl, and so I think that's the difference, because a running back can't do the blocking and running at the same time. That.
Yeah. How about Dorman? How about that line?
Well, it's interesting. Going into that, we lost a lot of linemen. Lost a lot of really good players this past year. Gutshaw's kind of he reminds you of that kind of coach that kind of draws stuff up in the sand. He kind of looks at his players, sees what we've got, and then makes it. And going into this year, the big question was offensive line. And quite honestly, we just didn't have a lot of meat on that offensive line. But coming out, they feel good. It feels good about That line, they're athletic. They're really athletic. Not a lot of size though. So that's going to be I think we've got our first year starter. Actually, one year for Rick Lee's son. Hayden's going to be our starting quarterback. Okay. And we got some really good skill players, but I think it's going to come down to how well does that line hold up, because we do like to run the ball, and that's just a huge part of his offense. A lot of people, when Gutshaw came into the area, I mean, it was that high flying stuff, but he loves to run the ball. It's always a piece of his pie. But I will say this: I think the region, of course, it's always the best region in the state, but what Tony said about Burns, there's an expectation, I know, from the Columbia Blue side of things that there's going to be a big resurgence from Burns. Obviously, those guys from Cherokee County, they're always going to have a strong group, Spartanburg and the others. But I think you're going to be looking at it's going to be that 3-horse race, and the big games, the Gaffney Dorman, the Burns Dorman, and then obviously the Burns Gaffney games. I think our region champion will come. Not to say the other teams, I'm not minimizing them, but I think that's where it's going to. And I think you'll see some different things from Dorman this year than what you've seen. Maybe what you've seen in the past. Yeah,
I think on Saturdays, you guys see eye to eye, though. 2 Gamecock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, boy, I tell you, that schedule is something to behold.
It's important. I grew up Orange. Oh. But then when time come to show the money for college for my son Drew, I always cut up with the Clemson fans. I said, y'all were giving Dabo all the money, so he didn't have no money to give my son. No, so it's all good.
Well, I'm facing the opposite of that. I have a daughter that's a senior this year. That's my oldest one, and she's probably 50% Clemson right now. So I told her, I said, it'd be hard to. She asked me, will you put one of those stickers on the back of your car that says Clemson Dad? I'm like, man, I love my girls. That's tough.
Real quick, growing up, I mean, it was just a hate, which some people still do that hate stuff. But I'm clearly not a hater. But when I met Kay, and we've been married, next year will be 30 years, but
awesome.
She's a University of Tennessee girl, and so I was painting tiger paws. We used to go to all the bowl games. We were at the bowl game, Gator Bowl, when Major Harris's mom said, "Don't you be hurting me." I think she said that on TV, her boy, but I will honestly say that going to the Carolina games since Drew went to college, they do a great job in Columbia, which like most colleges do, and put on a great show for their fans. And so it's always been fun to see it different. We went to a lot of Tennessee games, but South Carolina, that's pretty cool down in Columbia.
Yep. Okay, that's our little sidebar.
There you go.
Yeah. So go Cavs, right? I think everybody. Yeah. I tell you though, man.
How am I the Rebel girls?
Yeah. That's right. I got Rebels on my bicycle.
You talk about Friday football. I was talking to Flynn the other day, and we always go to the away games together. And he said, "All right, we've got our first road trip down. We try to find good places to eat, but man, we really are, especially for people that come in from out of that migrate into this area. They're shocked when they see how seriously we take Friday night football and how important it is to us. But it's a great time, great people on all sides of these things. So it's a great time. But so we don't have you here because you were the Rebel sideline guy and had your own show. We have got you here because you have had an amazing journey, and most people that are in the fitness community in this area are going to know the name Tony McAbee and have seen that. But I want to back up a little bit and go in reverse a little to maybe before you caught this fitness bug. And as you said, you caught it when you got it. You went totally to that side. But talk about yourself before before you hit this fitness journey? What was life like for Tony McAbee?
I think it's like, I was reading an article one time, and it was showing you what you were doing in your 20s, what from a man's perspective, what you're going to do, what you're doing in your 30s, and what you're looking for in your 40s, and so forth.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we started, we had a prior conversation before the show about racing, and so that would have been in my 20s, and I got married in my 20s, and I think I was 30 when Drew was actually born. So I don't think there's a lot of what we call fitness work going on. I'm playing a lot of church softball and stuff like that, and I probably am beating around with weights and stuff in a garage with a guy I grew up with, Randy Frost, and so and then you get in your 30s. I think that's the deal, kind of like, and we'll talk a little bit here in a little bit about F3. F3 has this little drawing on its website, and you kind of wake up and you're 36 and you go, oh, what the heck just happened now? I'm married and there's 2 kids, and I've got, what is that thing down here around my belly button? And all of a sudden, all them taters and all those things you've been doing, now you go, oh, wait a minute, am I 40 now? What have I got to do? So I think, you know, Kay and I, our first house was in 94 when Drew was born, not far from here. And I do remember running back then in the neighborhood, and had my neighbor Danny Davis that married Keith Laws' daughter, the Chick-fil-A guy. Yep. And so I'd call him early in the morning, but you know, it probably was later on when I got older. I started going, probably the big stepping stone would have been in my probably 04, 03, and I started going to Clyde Norris's gym.
Downtown.
Main Street Fitness. So I caught myself in there, and that's when I met a lot of guys from Spartan High in there, a lot of coaches, and so that's kind of where I was then, and I would walk with a group around the city, and I would get on the treadmills and things in there, and stayed at Clyde's for a long time, and was on the street, you know, in the morning time, 4:45. I always used to cut up with people about 4:45, but I was still a thicker guy, you know, a good solid 36 in the waist, and then I was playing basketball. That's important to remember, too. I forgot I played basketball for a long time. Those guys that played at North Spartanburg First Baptist Church, it was an early morning game at 5:30. We moved it over when they built their new gym. We moved it over to Welfare Baptist Church, my church. So we kept that game going. So that just kind of popped up right here in our conversation. I totally forgot about the basketball. The basketball really made a big impact. Got hurt a bunch. That game was rough. But it just kind of transitioned over to, you know, what's next. I'm thinking, because I'm 56 now, so you're thinking the last 15 years or less. I'm loafing one day at Walmart, and I just see a cruiser bike. It's a 9-speed, and I go, I ought to get that thing and start riding it on the Spartanburg Mary Black Rail Trail. Because I work right there at Public Works for the city of Spartanburg. So I remember taking $25 maybe and putting it on layaway. And I told my wife, I said, all right, so my Christmas present's down at Walmart. And I remember Drew rolling it in. And I took that thing, threw it in the back of the truck, kept it over at work, and would go ride up and down and for a long time. And then I probably just quit riding it a little bit. And then all of a sudden, I might have read an article about F3. So I actually started F3 in 2014, maybe about the time high school football started. But Will Gramlin and a bunch of guys actually started F3 because that was founded in 2011 in Charlotte. But the Spartanburg chapter, which is called Stonehenge over at Barnett Park, It started like in April, and so I've been with those guys ever since.
So talk a little bit about what F3 is and exactly what you guys do, kind of what started it, and what kind of people are there.
So here's my band right here. So F3 stands for Fitness, Fellowship, and Faith, and it's not necessarily any particular denomination. It just means that it's bigger than you are.
Yeah.
So you're going to have something bigger than you to make it go. I remember just showing up, and it's funny. I still tell it to this day. Burns plays Rock Hill, or Northwestern, and we're on the road that night. And I still got the picture to see me. Is that really me with that headset on? I tell
Oh, okay. You saw a picture
oh
yourself.
Gosh.
Yeah.
You know, compared to now, I go, is that really me? And
So when you started that, was that your most out of shape that you were in?
I would just say I was a big guy.
Yeah.
Because I got something funny to tell you about what happened in 2015. So I'm doing F3, but I'm still eating too. And so, you know, sometimes you got to get a perspective on this thing. So on the way home after a game, you got to go to McDonald's or you got to go to Sonic or somewhere.
Open,
you got to.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget. It's Burger King right there off it's McDonald's at Highway 5 near York.
Oh, yeah.
On the way home.
Yeah.
And I'm going F3 in the morning, first time on Saturday morning. And when I get there and they get to running, I'm tasting the Big Mac as we're running, and I'm going, this ain't going to be good. And of course, you get a nickname after it's over with. I'm Peachoid because at the end, you're the FNG when you start, the friendly new guy.
Yeah.
And it's a great fraternity of men. There's actually you have to log on their website, www.f3nation.com, and there's a women's group too.
Yeah.
I forgot their name, but so when they went around the circle, they said, well, what do you like? Who are you? How much money you got? Just, I just got that. And I said, well, I do Burns Radio. And somebody said, I bet he hates the Gaffney Indians. And so I ended up with the nickname Peachoid. Yeah. But I will tell you, it's been an amazing thing. So Spartanburg meets on Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 in the morning. It's pure lead. Yep. And you're done at 6:20.
This is down at Barnett Park,
yep,
right?
Right there. Yep. You just show up. Yep. So the mission of F3 is to plant, grow, and serve small men's workout group for the invigoration of male community leadership. Yep. Awesome. And so you can go to your boot camp. You guys do. Mm-hmm. You can go jump on that. You can go the local way, but this is something too that does more than just workout. It makes impact in your life.
Well,
good men.
The people I've talked to that are a part of it, and I know that's the part they talk about the most. Mm-hmm. And you know, when you talk about the core principles of it, and you know, some of the things it just teaches you. You know, like I've seen that it's, you know, rain or shine out. It's always outside to do the do those kind of things. And so, you know, those, I think things like that. We've talked about it in some of the running podcast of, you know, finding a community of people where you kind of find that purpose, but then you find something like this that it even takes it to that next level. Yeah. And I think that's just crucial for people. And that's one of those things that I just believe is one of the hooks and that really keeps people involved in. I know I've got some friends that and they tell me those names, the nicknames that they get, and I think that's crucial. So that's on
and use their nicknames on Strava.
It's I picked that up. I added mine because I saw some people out of state. So now there's people out of state, Florida, 2 guys from Wisconsin. I met Illinois who started following me, and when I saw F3, I said, well, you know, this is a fraternity kind of thing. Yeah. You want to support them. So I just followed them back on Strava.
Some of the ones I follow.
But the cool thing about F3 too, real quick, Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30 to about 6:20, we're out of there. And then Saturday morning is 6:30, 7:30. And you know, when you're struggling, guy's got a sickness, a family member's got a sickness. I mean, it's more than workout. Yeah. That's like we said, it's and not just with that group. Basically, anything you do in life when you build a network of and do it the right way. If you do it the right way. But I tell you, I was working out. I stayed there. We've seen so many different guys come. I guess Will Gramlin. I just think of two oldest guys there. Call it what it is. I'm 56, and my birthday's in May. And then Stan Parker, who works with BB&T. Stan won't mind me telling you, he's 57 years old, and he's the oldest dude there. But Stan and I cut up. I said, man, we're the oldest one there, but we get it. Yeah. We really do. And there's a couple guys 50. And when you go around the circle at the end, you just say Tony McAbee, 56, Peachoid. They repeat Peachoid. But they also throw respect. Once you get 50, you hear the word respect in there. It's a great thing. And the deal is, when I tell you it's Tuesday morning, I'm going to be at your front door to get you. Yeah. So the car's going to be running. You're going to tell your wife, I got to go. Tony's sitting out outside to pick me up. So that's kind of the way it is when you try to get somebody to start. Go get them first. Yeah. And so it's a great. So I just really, so the deal back to that bike, I started riding my bike up to F3, and I had me a little combination lock, and I'd lock it, chain it up on the bench, and then when F3 was over, I'd take off down behind Denny's Tower and work my way down and go the rail trail and run back and forth a little bit and shower at work. So it just so if you want me to, I'll tell you, you moved, that's 2014, and so guys, you guys have been doing this thing for a while, fitness-wise. I think that I woke up one day and my khakis were starting to get tighter, and I'm 36 in the waist, and I go, I'm working out, but I may be eating more than I'm burning.
Can't out exercise.
So my wife and I, I'll be honest with you, I'm a big eater, and I still am a big eater, but I went to I'll never forget, it was March of 2015. Yeah. March of 2015. You can go way back to a post on my Facebook where I show up, and I'm talking about you have to go back to 2015 to see it. You'll see a shirt. I'm standing in front of a fireplace at my house. We're about to go to Fuddruckers. Yeah. I'm in a 34 in the waist. I'm in a large shirt. Got my sandals on. It was March of 2015. Kay and I went over to Kohl's. I just want to get some new khakis for work. And bless my sweetie's heart, she says, try some 38s on because you got thick thighs. You got big muscles. I said, wait a minute now. If you're giving me 38s in the waist, that isn't because my thighs are big. That means there's something else big. It's that belly button. But I was like a kid. I tossed them back over to her. She said, you shouldn't do that. And I said, and so we left Kohl's with zero purchase.
Forget those 38.
And I'll promise you, I decided in 2015 on the spur of the moment I was going to do something about it. And I don't know, I'll just thank the good Lord, number one, most importantly. And then just I don't know, call me an extremist if you want to, and I would just say it comes from the good Lord. Yep. I had no pizza, just in bread, for like 120 days. And I started I got extreme. I didn't have any desserts. I just cut out simple sugars and stuff like that. I still had sugars, but I just cut out soft drinks and just different things. And slowly but surely, things started coming around. So from that perspective, I got into the summer of 2014. I got into 34s, and I'm still solid in 34s here in 2019. And some jeans I got is actually 32s.
I went from
crazy,
38
and I know you look great. So I mean,
that's a great feeling.
Two little pieces I want to pull out of that. What you just said. Number one, I think what happened to you in that dressing room is what happens to all of us at some point. Where Tony was on the podcast a few segments ago, and she was talking about Tony Clement. She was talking about she looked in the mirror and just cried, and you probably didn't cry in that dressing room, but she's trying to be nice. Your wife's trying to be nice. She was like, you got big thighs, and you're thinking, no, I'm my belly's blown up, and so you were faced with that, and I think that point in time is one of those times when we all come to, but unfortunately, what a lot of people do is they come to that point in time and they just say, you know what, this is just the way it is, and that 38 turns into a 40, that 40 a 42, and then 44, and you made that decision to turn it at that point. But then the big thing is, you probably didn't go get a book or anything at that point. It was like, all right, here's a diet. You listen to the things you said. It's like, I didn't eat pizza or bread or these simple sugars and those kind of things.
Cut out soft drinks.
Yeah, cut out soft drinks. And it's like you just kind of did what was that diet what'd you call it? The
MCSE, meat, cheese, salad, and eggs.
Yeah, that's about all he ate.
That's it.
Except
all I wanted, but that's what I ate.
Yeah, and you talk about, is just, okay, here's just the common, I know this stuff's bad. I'm going to discipline myself. I don't want to be this 38 anymore, and I'm going to do something about it. And so you did that, and then it just, so it wasn't like, it wasn't magic. It wasn't anything like that. You just did the hard work. So how long into that, how many days you say it was?
So I remember yesterday. Hey, so look here, listeners. I'm going to let y'all see my picture through the microphone. So, Kevin, you can speak of that 2015.
Oh, wow.
Look at that face.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
He's a completely different person.
That's March 14, 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, at F3.
Yeah.
And that was a virtual run, by the way, that we did. But and I felt strong, but I was a big guy. I felt strong. So I think it's a transformation if you can make it happen. You have to gain some willpower, and I think you gotta surround yourself with a bunch of people to help. So here's the deal. So you're saying, how did it come to a halt? Did you run away from it, and then when did you catch it? About 4 miles down the road here is where my brother lives, in my old neighborhood. Pine Grove, right beside the Methodist Church here on right beside 417. He's grilling hamburgers, and I eat them all at his house that night. Yep. And I did the bun. That was the first. I remember the first night. I'm going back to the bun.
Oh, okay.
And so I just think if you're gonna do it, you got to make sure that you're balancing it out. I'm not saying here it's not that's not what I'm saying, that I eat what I want to. I kind of do, but I don't think that's a good I don't think that's a good thing or a way to look at it. I think you treat yourself. We were cutting up, before we started, or maybe before Kevin walked in. I'm just telling you, McDonald's is one of my favorite places to go to. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. And
when I want to go to McDonald's, I go. But, man, I don't even know the last time I've been, to be honest with you. It's a discipline thing, and I think if you can make physical fitness a part of it, because it's not a magical pill, because I don't mind telling the podcast listeners and the folks, I remember going to do my annual physicals every year, and my mom's side of the family is eat up with heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure. So every time I'd get my blood pressure checked, they said, "You have high blood pressure?" And I said, "Well, I don't think I do, but yes, I do."
Yeah.
And is your cholesterol? My cholesterol's out of sight, and so long time I took Lipitor. And I think I take something off-brand, whatever, maybe 2 a week. I mean, a little bit of Satine. I mean, it's more of like a maintenance deal because of my family's history. And my blood pressure is super good. And I look at my Strava. I use a heart monitor when I ride. And so we did Skyuka last week. I had almost Skyuka and Hogback Mountain. I think my heart rate was 160. Just getting it. So I love it. It's been important. I've implemented it into my life. I'm probably, again, I've said it before earlier, I'm an extremist probably, and so being a runner too, I'm not considered a runner. I've just always piddled with it. I might be getting little more serious with the running part now. But not knowing, and that's why I talk to Jill a lot, and I talk to other people.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I know how to do it because it's got me hurt a couple of times, and so I've got a banged up hamstring I'm trying to get over now. So I'm learning how to just not be crazy about the running part. Put it in perspective. Learn how to run. I think you got to learn how to run. Yeah. I learned how to cycle, and that's been super great for me following people. But I do love to run. That's just crazy. Someone said it's called a runner's high or something. Yeah, yes. I know I was running by VCOM one morning, and I just yelled, honest to goodness, serious, by myself. It was on Sunday morning before church. I said, I love to run. I just screamed it out like that. And it was crazy because it was just something pumping through me. I felt good
it's
about it.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. How did the bike start or get accelerate?
So, we're back to that Walmart bicycle.
Right. You had the Walmart bicycle.
It's an Avalon. It's wide. and it's got the big wheels on it. Not the big old wheels.
Yeah.
And so we're beating up and down the road. And then Mike Stokes, that goes to my church at Welford, he'd always come in with that group that, by the way, that we eat with now at Las Vegas.
Okay.
After Thursday night Regal ride.
Right.
So I'd go in and I'd say, man, I rode 36 miles today or something like that. And I've got 45 for the week or something like that. And I'm going, these cats ride 45 in one ride. So he was being nice to me. So Drew's graduation from the University of South Carolina was May 6, 2012. That was on my birthday. He said, Dad, I remember in 2012, 16. He graduated from Burns in 12. But Christmas of 2012, when he's already a freshman at Carolina, he wants a Trek bike. And because he's going to ride with Jason Foster that went to our church. Jason's riding with some of these guys. I'd love to know who my son rode with back in the day because I'm probably riding with them at the old Great Escape. So Kay buys him, and I don't go. She goes over to the Great Escape and buys like the white 1.2 Trek, and it's a good-looking bike. And so Drew rides it a while, and then we just hang it in the garage. He says, I'm done. And so there hangs that bike for all those years, 2 or 3 years. And then in 16, Drew says, Dad, why don't you get that bike down and start learning? So that's, I remember the first time I took it to rail trail, I said, what the heck? Getting little bitty tires and I'm sitting on that seat, and I don't even know how to change the gears. Somebody says, well, the left is for the front and the right's for the back, and said just play with it, you'll figure it out. And so honestly, I did, and so I rode with tennis shoes for a long time, and they call them flats, and I'll never forget, I showed up at Reeville for the first time on Thursday night, and I show up with some Nike blue shorts and a shirt, and I
we all did,
and flat, and I'm riding along, and we're going out, let's say, I don't know, we're one of the roads from Waddell or something. And Mark Tutterow works with Sparkman Waters. Mark's such a good guy, leads a lot of rides. He said, I'm assuming you got biking shorts up underneath there. And so, I got to lie. Yeah, I got them. I ain't got no biking shorts, but you got to lie. And so anyway, so it was a successful ride that night. And I just, I got some, and I remember riding in T-shirts and stuff like that. With just learning, and for me, I'm one. You can ask my wife. I like to run to the front, be a leader. I've always been a leader. But in this case, you got to learn. I don't want to be, I'm a talker, but I don't want to be out front on that. You got a lot to learn because it's dangerous.
It is a lot to learn.
So I ride through the summer and meet a ton of great people. Oh my goodness! And next thing you know, you're eating with them, and then I'm going to mention it because of the safety aspect we do now. I was in the accident that happened down on Moore Duncan Highway at Christmas on Christmas Eve with 10 people, and I'm thankful that I didn't get hit, but they were, They were some hurt bad, and of course we are a better cycling community out of that accident today. We
Yeah.
are better. I think we are.
Mm-hmm.
So it continued, and the transformation just from, I think it was a combination of F3 and because, when I look back at Strava, so Kevin and Hal, I joined Strava, and I didn't even know what Strava was because I'm a big NASCAR
Yeah, I
fan,
didn't.
Jimmy Johnson, and I just read something about he uses Strava or something. I said, what's Strava? So I started playing around with it, and I looked. I remember first night I went, and I come back, and I said, this thing don't even work. They said, well, did you record your ride? I didn't even know. I didn't even know to record it.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if you look back at my number, I think it's late July of 2016.
Uh-huh.
So as far as my count, that's how many miles I've ridden since I joined Strava.
Wow. 22,612 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and how I just noticed his first year too. Mine was in that ballpark too.
Yeah.
So I started riding that kind of bike that we ride now in 2016. We would just call it May. And then May 1 year later, I did Mount Mitchell for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah.
But be careful what you ask for.
Well, that was, I think, Hal, it was about 1 year into
At 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into his.
Actually, yeah, a little less.
So I think, for me, I don't think it's anything magical from my story here on the podcast outside of is finding willpower and finding good accountability people. And so, see, you ride so much, I expect to see Hal the next ride, or he expects to see me, or we expect to see everybody. And so, I'm still, even at 56 years old, I'm still learning how to really, I think this year's Mitchell ride was more successful for me, even though I cramped with 5 miles to go. And I had an incredible time going this year and still did super. But I worked real hard on the nutrition side and the training side. I even had like almost 40,000 more feet of climbing this year prior to that.
The training,
but it's still the cramps. I thought I ate better on the ride. I thought I drink a lot more. It's some will cramp and some won't cramp. That's just, I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong. Maybe some salt tablets might have helped me on that. Mm-hmm. But just in general, exercise, I mean, I think I'm in a deficit for calories, to be honest with you, because I probably burn way more. But I will say, though, I still got to find a balance in life, make sure that I'm loving life and not being overwhelmed by if I don't make it to work out today, it's not the end of the world. It will be okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think there's two sides to that, Tony. And you said there's nothing magical. I'm going to agree and disagree. I'm going to agree that everything you said, I think anybody, if they decided, could decide to do it. But what is magical about it is I think that you did decide to do it and you've been consistent. I think the real magic with any kind of fitness routine, any kind of training program, any kind of any of those things is just having that willpower to do it every day. And and I would argue that it is part of loving life is maintaining this body that God gave us and keeping it in the best physical shape we can have so we can do the other things. You're a better you're a better husband, you're a better father, you're better at your job, you're a better friend, you're all those things because of the shape you're in. And when you go back to kind of the start of what we'll call the last start of it, which I think you said was 04, 03 in that range. Well, that's 14 years ago, 15 years ago. So you're around 42 years old when you start that, and now you're 56. And, for a lot of people, even when they get to that 42-year-old age, they say, just all downhill from here. It's you hear those kind of things. You get into your 50s, and it's like, well, everything aches, and I can't do this, and I can't. They like to talk about the things they can't do instead of just going out and saying, all right, today I'm going to go. You mentioned – and there, Clyde, you were walking, and it's thinking about the things that you can do. What can I do, and how's that going to help me be not only a better athlete, but a better overall person. And, you think about the relationships, you think about all the people you've met, all those things. It just makes us better people. And, then you're able to affect other people. We mentioned Hal earlier. I know, can't tell you how many times he's mentioned your name in training and other things, and that's helped him to.
Oh yeah.
To be
an inspiration.
To be an inspiration for Hal
for me.
and for others. And so that person that is listening, that's in their 40s, maybe even in their 50s, and they're thinking, oh man, he's some kind of superhuman to do these things. What would the encouragement you'd give them as we start wrapping this up?
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before. I talk to people. I think one is do something. Just do something.
Yeah.
And I've always encouraged people, and I'm not any kind of specialist as far as like professional trainer or anything, because that's one of our things at F3.
Yeah.
We say, if a new person shows up, you say, I am not a professional, because that's kind of the spiel that we get from F3 from, that you don't have to do what we do, modify accordingly.
Right.
I think a person just out of the box, I think if you just start walking, just find some walking and look at what you're eating, and then kind of, process from there. I think you were just talking about what did this do and making you a better person and feel better about yourself. I feel, number one, I sleep so solid now. I really do. I sleep good. And where some folks say, if they do by chance have sleep apnea, some people do. But I will tell you, evidently, I don't, because I am so energized during the day. Even I love the morning time, because I do it no matter what in the morning times. And then I shower at work and then, get the day started. But, people say, what time you go to bed and stuff like that. Well, I probably should and get a little bit more sleep. But I just think I think it's important, though, when I said walk and maybe check out what you're eating and stuff too, don't take everything away from you. That's what I've told some people. Just look at what you're doing. I've even said, if you're a soft drink person and you love bread, I remember what Luke Moran said one time when I first met Luke riding the bike.
Yeah.
I said, I cut back my bread. He said, I eat bread. And he said, we eat bread in France. And he said, the problem with you guys, y'all eat it all in one setting.
That's right.
And so, but I think you just look at the simple things. But I still believe it's important to surround yourself with a good group of people that can hold you accountable and then make it fun. Because I was checking out y'all's photos from your boot camp too. That's great. I mean, it's great. Because even at our boot camp, you're going to see variety of sizes.
Yeah.
You are.
And
but
levels.
you be that, what you say, encouragement to that person. Because once they get started, sometimes they can't stop because I've said if you adjust your eating habit, if you can get through the first about 10 days, if you can you'll find yourself going, I'm too far down the road now. I don't want to mess this thing up.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, you start, because I got on the scales recently, and I think I weighed like 198. I went and told my wife, I said, what the heck? She said, well, you don't have too much % body fat on you, and you do a lot of workout and you run and cycle, and unless you just want to go down to a real small amount of calories a day and just shrink down to 175, which you're going to look way thin, and plus you're going to lose your muscle mass too. So you got to kind of figure out who do you want to be and where do you want to be and stuff like that. But I'm just thankful for the ability, and I want to keep doing it as long as I can. And what I love about the whole thing is the amount of friendships I have. That's, to me, is that's overwhelming. I'm thankful for a smaller waist, and I'm thankful for almost a flat front. Almost, but I am more than grateful for friendships that I have. It's overwhelming.
Fill up that middle section
at
the Mexican restaurant on Thursdays, and all those folks.
And those are people that's going to be there. You kind of think about your church too. I mean, we're not a church in the cycling community, but it's another large network. It's a part of your life.
Yeah.
And you look forward to seeing those folks when you ride, and then you challenge each other. I think that's the cool thing about Strava, because for me, dang, I can't wait to get home and see what we did on the segments and stuff. And even last night, I knew last night was a rocket ride. And someone said, "All right, Tony, fess up. What you taking?" I said, "I don't know. Maybe a burger or a QT milkshake. I don't know. But we had a good run last night, and I remember tearing up through the vineyards last night, not the tall climb, but the opposite way to the church, towards 417. And I was thinking, I'm getting through here quick, and when I get home, I'm the fastest for the year so far on that segment. And I've not even been. So you don't know some nights. You're working harder than some nights. And if you're with a good group, whether you're working out at boot camp with you guys, someone is going harder, and you could go, I'm going to go as hard as that person right there. Yep. I don't know. I just love doing it.
Yeah. Well, man, that's awesome. Hal, you want to?
Yeah, the friendship part it's been awesome, getting to know the folks in the group rides, and I've been trying to spread myself too between different groups, getting to know different people and helping new people learn new people, like I did last night, and it's just been wonderful, great community to be involved with.
And you see people doing these things, and it inspires you to be able to go and try and do these things as well. And man, Tony, we just appreciate you taking the time to come be a part of this.
Well, I may be all over the board talking on this podcast, but it's just it's good to share. It's good to I was just cutting up with Jill and some before. I said, if I don't learn how to run and take care of myself in the running, it's going to be costly in the month. So I took 9 days off, and I felt better. But if I'll take care of myself now, I can be, as I told her, I can be running in August and September. But I got to find some kind of balance. I read and watch people, and so.
Yeah. So who's going to win?
I'm trying to do better from the.
So who's going to win the region?
The Cavaliers. Is that even a question? All I know is I'm looking forward. I tell you what, I'll even say this. It's not so much Friday night football. It's that first Friday night when you walk out and you got that nice little brisk breeze in the air. That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm looking forward to.
A little cooler weather.
It should be a good. I think there's going to be 3 teams that are neck and neck on it as always. And
I'm gonna make the prediction who wins the region.
Oh, we got a prediction.
Gaffney Indians.
They're
loaded. That my understanding. They're loaded.
They are. They always are.
Yeah.
They always
just
are.
got a bunch of athletes over in that area.
Yep.
But it's good to watch all those guys. For me, I was crazy, especially when I had that radio show. There's a woman called me and just raked me out. She just said, "Is there anything going on other than the Burns Rebels?" And she would get on to me. But now that I kind of grew up a little bit, I just love keeping up with the overall picture.
Yeah.
Our area, because just look at Chapman. So we could talk all night. I mean, this area is just loaded with great young athletes, both the ladies and the men.
They absolutely are. A bunch of crazy fans on all sides.
Sure
man. We're hardcore with it.
But,
man, Tony, we appreciate it. I don't know how I think I want to be Tony McAbee when I grow up.
Me too.
I do too. That's what I do. I said I want to beat that guy.
Yeah. I want to. That's. But he is. He's been an inspiration, and I know I've learned just from listening to you, and you really kind of challenged me and inspired me on some things, in following in your path. And another normal person that has come in and has shared a pretty extraordinary journey into where he is today and what he's doing today, and just by making hard decisions and being disciplined and getting a good group of people around him to challenge and encourage and inspire him, and that's what we're all about here on the Do Hard Things Today podcast. And Hal Morris does such a great job for us over there on the board, working his magic. I am not smart enough to be able to do all those things he does with that. And we just want you to go to iTunes.
Learning process. Yeah.
Yeah. But you've done a great job with it. But go over to iTunes, subscribe, give us a review if you could. You can always find us on one of the Facebook groups. We got a nutrition group. We got a running group, the Hub City Runners group. Just join up there and look around. Try something. Maybe it's going to F3 this week and jumping in that. Maybe it's showing up to a group ride in your navy blue shorts or your Columbia blue Cavalier short, whatever it may be. Just go ahead and take that step. Do like Tony said, do something this week. So for Tony McAbee, Hal Morris, this is Kevin Harrison signing off the Do Hard Things Today podcast, where fitness and life intersect.